In this segment, I'll be discussing about the introductory part of the chapter Surface Chemistry. What does surface chemistry deals with? It deals with the phenomena that occur at the surfaces or interfaces. That means in this chapter we'll be discussing about the reactions taking place at the surface. How this interface or surface reactions are represented. The interface or surface is represented by separating the bulk phase by a hyphen or a slash. Like this is the interface is represented slash or hyphen. The interface is normally a few molecules thick, but its area depends on the size of the particles of bulk phases, and few examples of surface reactions are corrosion, electrode processes, heterogeneous catalysis, dissolution, crystallization. For the surface reactions to take place, the surface must be ultra clean, that is to a very high degree of vacuum of the order of 10 to the power of minus 8 to 10 to the power of minus 9 Pascal. And it is now possible to obtain ultra clean surface of the metals. Solid materials with such clean surfaces, they need to be stored in vacuum, otherwise these will be covered by the molecules of the major components of air, that is dioxygen and dinitrogen. The surface of a solid, it has the tendency to attract and retain the molecules of the phase with which it comes into contact. These molecules remain only in the surface and they do not go deeper into the bulk. The accumulation of molecular species at the surface rather than the bulk of a solid or liquid is termed as adsorption. So adsorption deals with the reactions taking place at the surface. Then what do you mean by adsorbate and adsorbent? The molecular species or substances which concentrates or accumulates at the surface. So, if this is the surface means, if this is the surface, the molecules which are concentrating or accumulating, these are known as adsorbate, and the material on the surface of which adsorption takes place is known as adsorbent. That means this is the adsorbent. The material on the surface of which adsorption is taking place is known as adsorbent. Adsorption is a surface phenomena and few examples of adsorbents are silica gel, alumina gel, clay, colloids, metals in finely divided state. And let's see few examples of adsorption in action. If gases like oxygen, hydrogen, carbon monoxide, chlorine, ammonia or sulfur dioxide is taken in a closed vessel containing powdered charcoal, it is observed that the pressure of the gas in the enclosed vessel decreases. This is because of what? The gas molecules concentrate at the surface of the charcoal. That is, the gases are adsorbed at the surface. And in a solution of an organic dye, if you say methylene blue, when animal charcoal is added and it is shaken well, means what happens? What do you observe? That is, the filtrate turns colorless. That is, the molecules of the dye, they accumulate on the surface of the charcoal. That is, they are getting adsorbed. And the most common example is aqueous solution of raw sugar. When it is passed over beds of animal charcoal, it becomes colorless as the coloring substance are adsorbed by the charcoal, and the air becomes dry in presence of silica gel. This is because the water molecules, they get adsorbed on the surface of the gel. They get adsorbed on the surface of the gel. And the process of removing an adsorbed substance from a surface on which it is adsorbed is called desorption. It is called desorption. Now, let us discuss the distinction between adsorption and absorption. Adsorption is a surface phenomena. Absorption is a bulk phenomena. So, in adsorption, the concentration of the adsorbate increases only at the surface of the adsorbent. While in absorption, the concentration is uniform throughout the bulk of the solid. For example, water vapors are absorbed by anhydrous calcium chloride but adsorbed by silica gel. In adsorption, the concentration of the adsorbate increases only at the surface of the adsorbent, while in absorption, the concentration is uniform throughout the bulk of the solid. And both adsorption as well as absorption, they can take place simultaneously. The term sorption is used to describe both the process. Now let's discuss about mechanism of adsorption. How this adsorption occurs. The adsorption arises due to the fact that the surface particle of the adsorbent, they are not in the same environment as the particle inside the bulk. Inside the adsorbent, all the forces acting between the particles, they are mutually balanced, but on the surface, the particles, they are not surrounded by atoms or molecules of their kind on all sides. For example, if you take this is the bulk and this is the surface. Here the forces are not found to be uniform, whereas here in the bulk the forces are found to be uniform. So adsorption arises because of the unbalanced forces or residual attractive forces. And these forces of the adsorbent, they are responsible for absorbing the adsorbate particles on its surface. The extent of adsorption increases with increase of surface area per unit mass of the adsorbent at a given temperature and pressure. And the other important factor featuring adsorption is heat of adsorption. During adsorption, what happens? There is always a decrease in residual forces of the surface. That is, there is a decrease in surface energy which appears as heat. Adsorption, therefore, is an exothermic process. In other words, if you say this, delta H of adsorption is always negative. When a gas is adsorbed, the freedom of movement of its molecules become restricted, is it not? When a gas is adsorbed, what happens to its movement? It is restricted. This amounts to what? This amounts to decrease in entropy, to the change in entropy of the gas after adsorption. Therefore, delta S is also negative. Therefore, adsorption is accompanied by decrease in enthalpy as well as decrease in entropy of the system. For a process to be spontaneous means what? For a reaction to be feasible in nature, the thermodynamic requirement is that is a decrease in Gibbs energy, that is delta G is equal to delta H minus T delta S, that is delta G must be negative for a reaction to be spontaneous in nature. And if delta H has sufficiently high negative value as minus T delta S is positive. Therefore, in an adsorption process which is found to be spontaneous, a combination of these two factors makes delta G negative. Combination of these two factors makes delta G negative. As the adsorption proceeds, what happens? Delta H becomes less and less negative. Ultimately, delta H becomes equal to T delta S. And therefore, what happens to delta G? It becomes 0. That means equilibrium state is attained. Now let's discuss about the two types of adsorption. There are mainly two types of adsorption of gases on solids. They are physisorption and chemisorption. When the adsorption is known as physisorption and when it is known as chemisorption. Let's discuss now. If the accumulation of gas on the surface of a solid occurs on account of weak van der Waals forces, then the adsorption is termed as chemisorption. When the gas molecules or atoms are held to the solid surface by chemical bonds, then the adsorption is termed as chemisorption. The chemical bonds may be covalent or ionic in nature, and chemisorption involves a high energy of activation, and therefore it is often referred to as activated adsorption. Sometimes these two processes, physisorption and chemisorption, they occur simultaneously, and it is not easy to ascertain the type of adsorption. At lower temperature, physisorption favors. As the temperature is raised, Physisorption gets converted to chemisorption. And for example, dihydrogen is first adsorbed on nickel by van der Waals forces. Molecules of hydrogen then dissociate to form hydrogen atoms which are held on the surface by chemisorption. Now let us discuss the characteristics of physisorption and chemisorption. Physisorption occurs because of weak van der Waals forces. Chemisorption occurs because of chemical bonds. Physisorption is found to be it is not specific in nature, whereas chemisorption is highly specific in nature. Physisorption is reversible in nature, chemisorption is irreversible in nature. Enthalpy of adsorption is low for physisorption, enthalpy of adsorption is high for chemisorption. Low temperature is favorable for physisorption, high temperature is favorable for chemisorption. For adsorption, no appreciable activation energy is needed in physisorption. High activation energy is needed in chemisorption. Both physisorption as well as chemisorption, they increases with increase in surface area. That means both physisorption as well as chemisorption, they depends on surface area. Physisorption results into multimolecular layers on adsorbent surface under high pressure, whereas chemisorption results into unimolecular layer. Physisorption depends on the nature of the gas. More easily liquefiable gases are adsorbed readily. Chemisorption also depends on the nature of the gas. Gases which can react with the adsorbent show chemisorption. So these are the characteristics of physisorption and chemisorption.